Hi, it's Jonathan. I'm in our Dumbo studio, and I got back from Japan a couple of weeks ago. I was a guest of Audio-Technica, who make the world's best phono cartridges, and actually the biggest cartridge maker and turntable maker and the biggest audio company in Japan. When I was there, they said, well, what would you like to do in Japan? And I said, well, I want to go to listening bars. I want to eat a lot of sashimi, sushi, and just Japanese food in general. I'd like to go record shopping. Japanese record stores are justly famous as being the best record stores in the world. And I also said, let's go and visit some of the vintage audio stores because Japan, had the best vintage audio in the world for a long time. And the Japanese have a justly earned reputation for being the ultimate connoisseurs in whatever, in anything. They just have this wonderful obsessive streak of wanting to know what the best of anything is and then collect it and use it, understand it, and then make their own versions of it. They did this with cameras, with wristwatches in the 20th century, and got to be better than the Germans and the Swiss. And when it came to audio equipment, they were no different. And up until the beginning of the 80s, when digital came in, Japan was producing the world's best stereo equipment. And that was also a period which was the end of high-end audio being a mass market thing. That marks the end of the period where you go into people's homes and having a really big, cool stereo system and record player was like a source of pride and joy. Then the huge TV set came in. They didn't have those until the digital period. And then everything got shrunk and hidden, and rich people put their speakers in their ceilings because their AV integrators told them that's the best place to put them. And they were stupid enough to believe that, but they were also paying all this money to have that AV integrator spend, all their money on this home theater thing, which became the big deal. And thus we have really the cultural structure in domestic architecture and interior design that we do today, which is piss poor. So I'm in Japan, and my hosts dutifully take me to what remains for the vintage hi-fi places, which is beyond pathetic. Now, I know that on eBay, because I actually have a few things that I still look for. There's people in the middle of nowhere selling stuff out of Japan, but in terms of vintage audio in Japan, it's done. And I said, well, what about like new high-end audio? No, that's pretty much done too. Now, it's not that Japan is, sort of been in a recession for a while, but in fact, especially on a Sunday in Tokyo, the parade of supercars, just on any given day, people driving Ferraris and McLarens and Bentleys and Mercedes AMG G-Wagons, it's all over the place. People are super well dressed, people are super well put together. There's no shortage of money or style. And again, the Japanese were the connoisseurs of audio. What happened? Because audio, high-end audio, fell off of the map. So I've been thinking about that because, we're involved in this. We make very expensive audio equipment. But we're in this really strange place. I've talked about it before, but I'm going to talk about it again because it's the center, sort of a point of this video where everything pivots. And it's what the hell happened to real high-quality audio and sound reproduction in the home. And it's a very, very sad story, which really has everything to do with the beginning of digital, with audio becoming free. Like you didn't have to buy a record anymore. And so the equipment that was used to play records back fell into obscurity, disuse, into obsolescence until it got rediscovered, which is the situation we're in now. But what happened is audio shrunk into this super unhealthy diverticuli, like a diseased colon, this little pocket of craziness called the high end, which is, these magazines. Now, we're not really a high-end audio company in the sense that we make equipment using professional transducers at a professional quality level, which doesn't belong with the stuff that's in these magazines. Now, I'm holding these up because, as you can see, this is this turntable, which was reviewed as the world's best, and this is recent in Germany, but all the rest of the speakers in here are conventional speakers. All the rest of the stuff in here is conventional audio. This book some Norwegians gave to me a few weeks ago, and we're on the cover, and we got like a lot, but it's all conventional, stuff, which means low efficiency loudspeakers that don't play loud at all, that have all sorts of problems, that you need a very powerful amp to run, low efficiency loudspeakers, high powered amplifiers. This is the formula for the high end. Again, we've done the big shows like Munich. The magazines won't report on us because they don't believe we belong in the high end. The 2 times we did the Munich show, you can try and find the reports in the audio magazines. You won't. We were completely, ignored because they consider us to not belong in the magazines because we're not part of that industry. We're not part of the professional audio industry either, because that really is concentrated on how much you can make somebody's pants flap at 300 meters from the stage. It's about output. It's not about sound quality. So we're neither here nor there. We're in this strange place, and I've been trying to figure out, how did we get here? And really, I keep going back to what has happened to the high end and to so the name of this magazine is very indicative, Stereophile. And people often say to me, well, Jonathan, I'm not an audiophile, and so I don't know whether I'd be able to hear the difference. I'm like, thank God you're not an audiophile. And they look at me like, well, what? Aren't you? Isn't this all about the audiophile thing? And I'm like, no. An audiophile, just the word file, the affix to a word, what does it mean? It's a pathological condition. It really designates someone who has an extremely unhealthy, pathological attachment fixation on something. Pedophile? You get the idea. So an audiophile is somebody who essentially fetishizes audio equipment. Now, audio equipment is ostensibly designed to play back music. But the reality is audiophiles don't do that. Again, this is going to be a bit of a stretch for you non-audiophiles out there, and the audiophiles can turn this off right now because you know already what I'm going to say, and you're not going to want to hear it. The audiophile has to indeed have some records and music to play, but the whole point of the audiophile obsession, which is aided and abetted by these magazines, which tell you that every month, whatever is on the cover, whatever is being shown is the newest and the best, which is utter bullshit. I could go online and for $5,000 or $10,000 on eBay, put together a system that will destroy whatever the reference system is in any of these magazines. In about 6 or 8 weeks' time, I could put that together. So the whole idea that things are continuously getting better, that's utter bullshit. But audiophiles need and want that because really what they have is a consumption problem. It's like the person who has, the Imelda Marcos closet of shoes. Now, women are allowed to have X number of handbags or shoes. Men have to cycle through their audio equipment, or they accumulate it in a garage or something, and it goes in their man cave, and they go and they sit in their man cave by themselves, and they listen to the equipment. They don't listen to music. because really it's about owning certain pieces of equipment which give them status with a certain owner group, which then they talk about endlessly online in forums and chat groups. I own this works well with this, and it's not about the music, it's not about the experience of music at all. It's about owning the equipment and the feeling, the status thing that makes you feel like something by owning the equipment. And this is very confusing for normal people because they look at the equipment and they go like, isn't that supposed to be about the music? But it's not. And so they're turned off by this. And they look at this whole world of the audiophile and they say, I don't know, but that's really not for me, which I totally understand and agree with. The problem is how to get high quality sound, the experience of really feeling and listening to music back into people's lives. And this is a big problem because you could say, well, go and look at the magazines. But if you look at the magazines, even though we're on the cover of sometimes of these magazines, you will be lost. You will be permanently lost. You will never find your way out of that evil, dark forest. You can't really go online either because online it's the same big shitstorm mess. You can't go to listening bars because they're all set up by people who really just want to harvest your money, serve you drinks, but don't care about the sound quality. So where do you go to get the information to find out how to put a really good sound system together? This is tough. This is genuinely difficult. I'd like to give you an easy and pat answer. I can't do that right now. I'd like to make more videos on the subject, but you know, it's complicated. I think what I really wanted to accomplish in this video is to finally start talking about the truths about what's going on deep within certain aspects of these areas that we inhabit, and that just finding the information to help guide you is extremely problematic because the sources are corrupted. The reviewers in these magazines are entirely beholden to the manufacturers. They don't write this kind of crap every month. Then they don't get more equipment to review. The magazines don't get advertisers. They go under. They don't want to go under because they don't have anything else in their lives. Having known a lot of these reviewers, they're pretty much unemployable. So where do you get your information? I wish there were more genuine brick and mortar audio stores, but they have fallen as well to the predations of internet commerce and to the fact that people don't really value seriously listening to music anymore. I don't know, maybe you send me a message and tell me what you think is a good solution to this, because I don't have a ready answer, but at least acknowledging that a problem exists is a first step.